Let's throw some jabs.
The fight starts now!
Well, Sergio, we have a shocker. Tyson Fury says talks for an all-British heavyweight showdown with Anthony Joshua are officially dead. Fury made this announcement on social media after Joshua did not meet a Fury-imposed Monday deadline to sign a contract for the fight. Sergio, this felt like a long shot to begin with. Is it good news or bad news that Fury Joshua is off?
Terrible news, Mannix. This is bad all around. I mean, this is a fight that, it was years in the making. We should have got it when they were both, in their absolute popular prime. But Tyson Fury gave Anthony Joshua a chance at the heavyweight championship after Joshua, lost 3 of his last 5 fights? 2 back-to-back? If you're Anthony Joshua, you can't get picky. You gotta suck it up. You really do. You gotta suck it up and fight for a championship. Hopefully have a good representation of yourself to where you can win another title and become a 3-time champion. But he didn't do that. So now where does Anthony Joshua go? Where does Tyson Fury go? Wherever they go, we're not as interested because these two needed to fight a long time ago and they were this close to getting it done. Just didn't happen.
Yeah, I think it's great news that this fight isn't happening now because it felt very haphazardly put together. It didn't feel like they were maximizing the magnitude of the event. And I understand your argument where you're saying if you have a chance to make a fight, you make it. It's an argument I've made many times over the last few years. But this is a fight that I think can still be put together in a matter of 8 or 9 months. And since I believe that, I think putting it off makes a lot more sense. You said now, who is Tyson Fury going to fight? Well, Mahmoud Char is the leader in the clubhouse right now. Manuel Char, now known as Mahmoud Char. He's the leader in the clubhouse at the moment. There's also Derek Chisora out there who confronted Tyson Fury at the Joe Joyce, Joseph Parker fight. Look, there are, stay busy type options for Tyson Fury. And then early next year, he can go into a title unification fight with Alexander Usyk that will determine the undisputed heavyweight champion. Now, for Anthony Joshua, he needs to rebuild. He needs to get back to being the confident knockout artist that he used to be. Sergio, he's coming off back-to-back losses to Alexander Usyk. As we record this now, I don't know who his trainer is. Is it still going to be Robert Garcia? Is Angel Fernandez taking the keys alone? Is there going to be someone new brought in? I think Anthony Joshua needs 2 fights before he gets to a Tyson Fury-like level. Now, I think those 2 fights are probably someone on a very, very low level in December or January in the UK. And then April, maybe May, you come back into a stadium fight against Dillian Whyte. Those are 2 very winnable fights, Sergio. And then you get into September of next year, and you're talking about making Joshua versus Fury for the undisputed heavyweight championship. There's a way to make this fight exponentially bigger, and it's a way that I don't think puts the fight at that much risk.
Yeah, it could be exponentially bigger, like you said, if everything goes as planned. But we know that boxing, that doesn't happen. Look at what happened with Andy Ruiz. Look at what happened with Alexander Usyk. That just doesn't happen in boxing. We can't plan. You want to make God laugh, you tell him your plans. Well, that's how boxing works too. And if you're going to have a fight where it's potentially there, they offered you, they gave you a contract, all you needed to do is sign on the dotted line, and then one of the biggest fights in boxing, whether you're coming off a loss or not, it's still one of the biggest fights in boxing for the heavyweight championship of the world. You take it. You take it and run. You give the fans what they want. And if you win, you're back on top of the world. You're a 3-time heavyweight champion if you're Anthony Joshua. Instead, you detour like you want him to and take 2 or 3 fights against Char and Chisora and White and all these other guys that have a handful of losses. No one cares. We want the biggest and the best fights for one of the biggest and baddest, still popular fighter in AJ. That's
but Sergio, who's to say this is a great fight right now? Because Tyson Fury is at the peak of his powers. Last year, he completed the Deontay Wilder trilogy in emphatic fashion. This year, he has a knockout win over Dillian Whyte. He is at his best at 34 years old, a pound-for-pound guy right now. I don't know what Anthony Joshua is right now. You saw the way he reacted to the loss to Alexander Usyk. That tells me that Anthony Joshua is not necessarily in the best headspace. You would know as well as anyone the difficulties of working with new voices in your corner. I'd like to see Joshua get 2 more fights with Angel Fernandez, with Robert Garcia, get his confidence back to the highest level, get his skills back to the highest level, and then challenge Tyson Fury. I understand it is a risk. Anthony Joshua could very easily get knocked out by Dillian Whyte in the first half of next year, but I think it is a calculated risk to make this fight one of the biggest heavyweight fights ever, and not just a really big British heavyweight fight.
That frustration that you're talking about of Joshua in his last fight, it was because he expected to win. He put all his eggs in that one basket. He moved all the right pieces and he came up short. That's how winners react when they lose. When you lose, Mannix, the world crumbles around you. Now, you're supposed to deal with it the mature way, like a champion, and accept your loss. He did it the immature way and it looked bad. But it hurt. It hurt. And that shows you that he still has that championship spirit. So you don't want to go in that, you don't want to take that championship spirit backwards. You don't want to regress and go for a Char or a Chisora or anyone else. You go forward. You bite off more than you can chew because you have that championship heart. That's what you got to do when you're a champ and you're used to fighting at the absolute top in the elite.
So wait, you're worried about Tyson Fury in this instance? Like, that's your concern? Tyson Fury can make 10 million
AJ.
plus. Yeah, but you said go on and
AJ.
fight. You said go fight Char or Chisora. That's what you just said.
I said, do not go backwards. Don't regress and fight guys like that. You're absolutely.
He's not talking about. He's talking about even lesser. But he's talking about fighting even lesser guys. You have to go backwards at some point, Sergio. Every time you suffer setbacks, we've seen this from fighter after fighter. They take a bit of a step back before they try to take 2 steps forward. I think there's no shame in Anthony Joshua rebuilding himself after 2 really tough losses. Why do you disagree?
Because I was never Anthony Joshua level. Yes, I had to take a couple steps back in money and in opponent and from the main event to a semi-main event. I get it. A lot of fighters get it. But when you're Anthony Joshua, when you're Canelo, when you're Floyd Mayweather, when you're Terrence Crawford, all these guys, if and when they ever lose, they don't want to go backwards. They don't go from the prime to the undercard because the money's not there, the fan base is not there, and it just feels like you're taking less than you deserve. Anthony Joshua doesn't deserve that, even after back-to-back losses.
Okay, but you mentioned Canelo Alvarez. And yes, the loss of Dmitry Bivol led straight into a fight against Gennady Golovkin. Take me back, Sergio, to 2013 when he fought Floyd Mayweather. Who did he fight next?
Who was it, Paul?
Good friend of yours, Alfredo Angulo in his next fight. That was something of a step back. That was a step back before he took another big fight against Erislandy Lara.
He was 22 years old. Difference.
So now we're talking about age at this point. Look, all I'm saying is that Anthony Joshua will not be the best of Anthony Joshua in December. I think it's a good chance he could be the best of Anthony Joshua in September or October of next year.